Next up, we have Max Klimmek, who is Manager of Customer Success at Intercom, to share his CX disasters.
Thank you very much. Thanks for the intro. I want to say a really quick thank you to Violetta and Mariana and the team at Unbabel for having everyone here. I've actually never been a big fan of conferences or going to these things, so it's pretty much my first one. Definitely my first time being on stage, and I just want to say thank you because it's actually incredible. So I'll definitely be going to more of these. As you can see, I'll be talking to you 3 lessons learned managing CX during disasters. I think the thing that I found through this whole session today and this morning is that like a lot of these talks are very intense, they're very detailed. What I found, like, I was nervous the whole way through. I'm like, geez, these people are talking about some really intelligent stuff. My talk's going to be pretty simple. I think the lessons that I'm going to share today are fairly easy to digest. They're fairly simple. There's maybe one-liners to them, but underneath they're actually quite complex. But on the surface, they are really simple. And I think like the one thing that I found with these lessons is that a lot of people think they're doing them really well, but essentially when you get down to it, when you really focus in on these lessons, a lot of people aren't doing them really well, and they're the basics. So I'll walk you through those. A quick one about myself. So obviously I'm the head of customer success at Intercom, manager at the moment, but still leading the whole team globally. Before this though, I worked in SAP. So I worked in a team in enterprise support. So basically working the largest global escalations at SAP for all of their biggest customers. Our team was kind of like a SWAT team that would be called out to these places. So that's a bit of experience of where I've got that kind of large scale multinational experience where it's like really big disasters, maybe an entire enterprise has gone down, versus Intercom, where we start at the bottom of the market. There's a ton of small businesses, so we're kind of dealing with the disasters at scale instead of dealing with them face to face. But one thing I wanted to talk about as well is like, what the hell is customer experience? When you look online in Wikipedia, again, like told in college not to reference this ever, but really I don't agree. I think like you get a lot of information from there and all the references are at the bottom, but when you look online, it's the product of an interaction between a business and a customer. So what the hell is an interaction? Like, I'm interacting with you right now, a ton of you, super nervous, but it's an interaction. I interacted with people last night, I'll interact with people tomorrow. Interaction for us at Intercom, really when you think about it, is a business or a customer or anyone communicating to one another. So while you don't think you're communicating to someone because you're not on the phone, you're not on live chat, or you're not on email, really what you are doing is you're actually talking to them in some way. So I'll give you a couple of examples of what I'm trying to mean here. Booking.com, right here. This person has gotten to the first stage. They've literally landed on the website. They've met with the search bar, which everyone fills in. And to everyone, like right now, it's like, I'm not really communicating with Booking.com. Like, I'm not talking to them, I'm not talking to someone, I'm not wasting their time. There's no first response time, there's no CSAT score. But if you really look into it, I actually am communicating with them. If this is a good example here, like, I want to book a family holiday to Disneyland. Now imagine that parent who is maybe, example, my uncle, had to save up for 2 years to book this holiday for 2 or 3 of his kids. He literally had to save up for 2 years to book this holiday. And his first interaction with Booking.com is, it's not really communicating with them, but it's super important to him. So going through this, I kind of want to keep the concept of like, communication is the key. Your customers are always communicating to you, no matter what. Another example is with Ease. I love the company. Ease, I loved the chat earlier as well. But again, reading into this, maybe someone's buying this because they're struggling with anxiety. And when they come to you when there's an issue, maybe the delivery hasn't arrived or there's an issue with the product, remember the person might be struggling with anxiety. So there might be heightened levels of stress or disaster, okay? So again, interaction, a business or a customer communicating to one another. Whether you think it or not, your customers are always communicating to you. Whether they're clicking through your website or whatever, they're always communicating to you. So you can dig out messages from that. One more point on this is I think someone was asking earlier about how to teach AI to be a bit more personal. I think it was the question to Rebecca, was how do you teach to be more personal? Well, from my perspective, it's actually reading through the lines here and teaching the bots or the AI about these sort of emotions or these scenarios. I booked this trip on a business card. Flight got cancelled, I don't know, wouldn't really care. Hotel got cancelled, wouldn't really care. But for my uncle or someone like who's booking this, it's an absolute disaster. Crisis. So the first lesson out of the 3, first one, very simple, again, not a lot of people do it, from my perspective anyway, is create a repeatable customer experience. Create something that everyone in your company knows will happen when a disaster happens, no matter what the disaster is. It could be anything. But remember to have something that everyone knows what to do in the scenario of disaster. You think of police, firemen, et cetera, they always train no matter what it is, whether it's something burning down, someone who hurt their neck in a rugby match, they always have a process that they follow because it becomes familiar. So the first lesson is create a repeatable customer experience. And to illustrate this a bit, here's a red button. And I'm going to try something. I know you've all had lunch, so you're probably a bit tired, a bit jaded, so I'll try to keep engagement here. I'd like to ask everyone to close their eyes. I know some of you are very senior, maybe you don't do this usually, but close your eyes and try and bring yourself back to the last time you had a disaster. Maybe it was in work. Maybe it was at home. Your heart's racing. It's crisis mode. Big issue. But imagine then, in that moment of crisis, when you're freaking out, or people are running around with their hair on fire, you have a red button by your side. This red button, when it's pressed, you can open your eyes again. This button, when it's pressed, would mean a SWAT team would literally arrive to your door, who are there to solve your problem, no matter what the issue. Whether it's your house on fire, your kid getting sick, your dog ate a rock, anything. They're there to solve your problem. This SWAT team was my team in SAP. So with all of SAP's largest customers, they were given a red button. No matter what the issue, if they felt like it, they'd press a red button and a team would arrive on site. And that was our team. Generally, when we would arrive on site, you'd have this customer running at you with their hair on fire. Now, sometimes we knew that the issue maybe wasn't as big as it should be made out to be. But again, we're there to meet them face to face. We're there to greet them. We're there to be personal. They're used to it now. I could walk you through the process of this, going on site, like what are the steps that you take to set this up? Excel sheet, recurring meeting, you stay there for 3 weeks minimum, you bring in a tech person. I can walk you through that. But the most interesting thing that I took away from this was, again, the first lesson, is this was repeatable. Day after day, month after month, year after year, this was happening. Red button, SWAT team, hair on fire, red button, SWAT team, hair on fire, put the fire out, go back to Dublin, another phone call, red button, go back, again and again and again. 2.5 years burnt me out personally, but the one key thing that I took away was like, SAP had built this up. They knew the process. Everyone knew the process. Customers stopped even pressing the button. They just send you an email. Can you just come on site? Like, I'm ready for you. This is a disaster. They'd know us. They knew what was going on. They were waiting for you at the door. It's like your mum waiting for you to come home. Sitting there waiting for you. And if you didn't arrive, they were like, what the hell's going on? I thought you were going to come on site. So again, create a repeatable customer experience. Number 2, exude confidence. While shit might be going down in the background, don't show your customer that. The last thing your customer needs when their hair is on the fire is what? More fire. They don't need it. Just don't. While you actually might be shitting yourself because there's a really big issue going on in the background, the last thing your customer really needs is for you to run over to them. I don't know what's going on. I don't know. It's a big issue. I'll call my VP. I'll call my director. That's the last thing they need. What they need is someone to arrive and go, listen, I know your problem's big. Let's get down to try and solve it. Let's take a process here. We're on site. I'm shaking your hand. Let's book dinner tonight. Let's give them a few beers to calm them down. Let's maybe talk about their family a bit, get to know them, and then work on the issue. De-escalate it a bit. So don't run to your customers with their hair on fire. The way you do this, though, which is easier said than done, obviously, is, from my perspective and what I learned over time, I actually learned from my boss, who always used to walk into a meeting when I was junior, would say, there's a world outside of this office before we go in here for 3 weeks with everyone with their hair on fire. Remember, shit's happening outside as well. That's way worse. So, is try and create a mental model of what real disasters are. This was potentially a really big disaster. This is the ring from Lord of the Rings, right? If this ring wasn't destroyed by 2 hobbits or whatever, the whole group of them, that was the end of the human race. Like, done. Saruman and all the orcs and whatever were going to take over. Big issue outside of the office though, right? I mean, you dropped your ice cream. Get your wallet out and buy another one. Do you know what I mean? So remember, try and put these mental models together. It's actually an exercise that you can do. When I used to do it on the plane, I used to look up the news when I was on the way to a customer escalation. Look up the news, see all the errors or the emergencies that were going on in the world. Like, okay, big emergency, like something major is happening in the world. And this customer really just dropped their ice cream. So when I get there, I'm a little bit calmer. Something you can actually practice. And it's something you can actually teach people as well. Something you can actually teach your CS team. Like, hey, when you're freaking out, just go take a break, look at the news. Shit's happening outside that's way worse. Act like a swan. That's the analogy my boss told me to tell you all. Act like a swan. On the top of the water, it's elegant, it's smooth, it doesn't look like anything's going on. But maybe underneath, it's chaos. Just act, be a swan. The last one, which has been talked about all day, so I don't want to go to it in too much detail, is be personal. Intercom's mission and vision is why I joined, is actually to make internet business personal. That's our mission. So this is kind of like part of our mission. But I think everyone can do a good job of it. One thing to always remember is we're all human. So treat your customers like humans. Again, how do you do this at scale? That's one of the questions that's coming through all day today, is how do you do this when you have 1 million active users? When you're Spotify and you have 80 million active users using your app every day? I think the answer is data. Again, maybe a different conference. But I'll give you an example here of where Intercom maybe took a more personal approach. Have a read through that. Really? Like, you hate Phil? Get it. You hate the onboarding process? Get it. You hate the lack of hair on Phil's head? Come on, like, this person has gotten so angry with the onboarding process, the Intercom, he's actually gone out and started personally attacking one of our employees. You could say, he dropped his damn ice cream. He's dropped his ice cream. But again, remember, for us, whether they drop their ice cream or where it's a big issue, it's still important to us. So we could have reacted in 3 ways, right? Could have ignored the tweet, could have said nothing back. Phil, rightly so, and maybe some of the other intercomrades could have maybe attacked him back, maybe attacked his looks, maybe attacked the company they worked for. Or the third approach could be kind of personal. So, hey, listen, there's actually people behind this company. We're not a faceless business. Phil is a real person. So that's exactly what Phil did. Phil put on a wig. Now, this is the first tweet in a large exchange of tweets. But back and forth from Phil, my screen's just turned off, so I'll try, where Phil actually had an engagement with this person. And the guy's first response was, oh, geez, I feel really bad now. Yes, of course, because you just attacked another human being for a product, like, you know what I mean? So I think the most important part is to think about your customers beyond the data and the statistics. Use your human kind of approach. Like, you've got tons of CS people that are all agents that are, I'm damn sure, still at this stage, 100% smarter than any AI bot out there. I'm personally not one of these people that's like freaking out about AI. So use your CS people to either train bots or to be themselves more personal and read through the lines. Take the approach of actually reading through the lines and being really personal with your customers. So just to recap, 3 lessons, very simple, Very, very simple. You all think you might be doing them great. I'm presuming you all are because you're all here, you're all great people. But a lot of companies aren't doing them great. They're doing a shit job at them. But they're really simple. They're the basics. So lesson number 1 for a great customer experience during a disaster is make it repeatable. Everyone needs to know it. Your employees need to know it. You need to know it. Your boss needs to know it. Most importantly, your customer needs to know it. I can walk you through what Intercom does now for this repeatable process. Again, a scaled version where we're talking to maybe 1 million plus active users. The next part is act confident. That doesn't mean cocky. So there's a difference there. There's a difference of walking into a room, you know, where you're going on site, this escalation, what's up? Got a disaster, this will be grand. No, be fine. No, it's to go there and just be confident. Be confident in what you're saying, be confident in your intelligence on actually solving the problem. The last part, which is Intercom's mission, is to be more personal. Everyone's a human being. So treat your customers like human beings. Be like Phil. Thank you.